right, so there's just some examples there. All right, so like I said, the labor market was challenging before COVID. Now what? Over 10 million unfilled positions in the U.S. You know, anyone on the street corner with a can't find a job sign, I'm a little suspect that that's the actual what's happening right now. A little suspect there. 10 million unfilled positions. So the Great Resignation, speed dating for candidates. Anyone have someone join your team for 2 weeks and just be like, nah, I'll see you later. Is that happening now? Yeah. You know what? That's actually kind of healthy for them and us. We just have to have a recruiting apparatus that can handle the volume to settle that out. So actually, that kind of sucks, but not really, because I'd rather fail fast with people, right? Failing really well over a period of years just to make sure you've completely failed, I don't think that's a strategy. Like, maybe not an intelligent one anyways, right? Okay, so it's not all bad, it just hurts until you fix it, and we're gonna help you fix it, all right? So the good news is, good news everybody, you all run on EOS, and you have a huge advantage to people that don't run on EOS. Because when you connect all 5 foundational tools, you have the visibility and clarity that your competitors simply don't have. Okay, so how are we gonna leverage this advantage? All right. We got 5 foundational tools. Gino talked about this in his keynote yesterday. The VTO, the accountability chart, the rocks, the medium pulse, the score, the big 5. Right? These 5 tools are basically 80% of EOS. All the other stuff is that last 20%, and trust me, that last 20% is sweet, and you want it. But don't work on advanced tools until these are solid. Hey, Chris, teach us a new tool. Yeah, I've seen your scorecard. Let's talk about that for the next hour. Right? Tool time. In your quarterly sessions, you guys always use tool time to learn a new tool or strengthen an existing one, right? Okay, good. All right, the rocks, that's how we move the company from where it is to where it's gonna be in 3 short years, right? 12 quarters, incremental change. Meeting pulse, right? The Olympics, the Olympic business meeting, right? Where everyone gets a 10 until you don't. And then the scorecard, that's how we know, back to the title here, GWC. Most people are just using the scorecard to determine GWC. But there's actually quite a few other things other than just the scorecard. Because you can have someone on your team hitting numbers and being super productive, but still a bit of a train wreck. Using the wrong process, using the wrong version of the file, so having to stop and be like, Adam, you have a spreadsheet from 4 years ago. I know you like your spreadsheet, but we have a new one now. Can we use that, please? Right, okay, so that's the scorecard is for GWC to manage human energy. So real quick on the scorecard, I like to tell my teams that every science museum in America, every major city, has an Aerodyne bike, a converter motor, and a light bulb. Right? You get on, you start pedaling, the filament lights up, you pedal really fast, it's bright. That's the scorecard. It's a weekly measurement of human energy that determines a monthly business result. A week of activities, you can't give someone a scorecard metric if they don't run the number up or down. It's unfair to say, hey, good. They'll usually take the praise if the number's good, like, yeah, thanks, that was pretty good. Hey, I noticed that number's low. Yeah, I don't really affect that. That's not really my number. So, 2 types of people issues here. Right person, wrong seat, right? And that's usually our fault. They're one of us, and you're the closest to GWC that I can grab onto, so it's proximity. Is often the case how we put people in the wrong seats, right? It's our fault. The seat's too big, it's too small, it doesn't fit, but for whatever reason, we put them there, and a lot of times when someone's in the wrong seat and they're failing, they sometimes present as the wrong person. Have you ever seen that? Yeah, humans don't like to fail. So when you put someone in a role like that, and they're like, I'm just gonna gut it out, I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna be miserable, well, everyone's gonna be miserable too. Okay, wrong person, right seat, well, that's the brilliant jerk, right? Super productive, great numbers, but a total douche canoe, and you'll never have a great culture, right, with someone who's constantly doing things to like devalue the situation, right? Energy vampire number 2, right there, that one. Okay. People analyzer, we've seen this, get it, want it, capacity. So right person, core values, GWC, right seat, period check, right? Okay. So we've got these people, we know how this works, and you can see Carlos, I'd love to have 100 Carloses. Wouldn't that be awesome? A bunch of humbly confident, grow or die, help first, do the right thing, do what you say. Yep, yep, yep. And then we got Mary and Mike. Well, Mike is the one, well, I don't think we could save Mike. Mary may or may not be able to kind of be coached up. Do you ever have someone with, you have 5 core values and have 4 minuses and a plus minus, and you're like, oh man, I think we can change them. I'm sorry, you can't. I like to tell my teams that mommy and daddy made that one right there. And how they show up, like you as a leader, I'm gonna fix a broken person and make them awesome. That's a lot of wasted effort. You can't do that. People come to you motivated, responsible, accountable. All that happens by the time they're like 9 to like 17, in my opinion, right? So what we need to do is to have a hiring process to find those well-raised people and bring them onto our company. Because those types of people will constantly surprise you with their awesomeness, and quite frankly, you had nothing to do with that. And that's okay. You get credit for finding them and keeping them happy. That's what the A player game's about, all right? So I'm just showing you this right here. Okay, so GWC, we've got a center. Winning face-offs, this is hockey, by the way, right? Win face-offs, create scoring chances, score goals, got to back check and defend and minimize turnovers. That's the center's job. The goalie has a different position, so obviously their seat's going to have 5 different bullets. Don't let any goals in. Get it, want it, capacity. Okay, so back to some more purity here. The name of a seat is called a function, right? And then the individual responsibilities are called roles. Okay, so we're going to stay with that, obviously. So this is the difference here. So with my teams for, I don't know, I've been doing this about 8.5 years full-time. And I would say the last 5 years or so, I've had these conversations where things kind of get muddy. Is it here? Is it there? I said, okay, listen. So how about if this is like LMA, for instance, the first bullet point. I've been saying forever, hey, I think we need like a paragraph. Because you know, a bullet point doesn't get me all the way there. So if you have a job description or a quick start guide or a position description or whatever, obviously you're going to have more. Each seat should have a paragraph to explain what success looks like in each bullet point, right? Then I'm like, you know, what's a scorecard number associated with this? How do I know if they GWC that or not? How are we going to do that? What about a process, right? So you might have to learn how to, in order to GWC this and hit your number, you might have to follow a process. Well, what about a tool? Whether it's like a handsaw, a nail gun, or an actual EOS 1 piece of software, right? A very handy tool to have in one's toolbox, right? And then what about a percentage of time? So if you're able to give this clarity to every accountability chart seat, things tend to get a little bit more clear. So this is what I've been doing. So I basically just created a worksheet to do that. And then we take an accountability chart. And if every seat has all this stuff, that's everything. That's what you need. So we'll fully connect that. All right, so let's go from the subjective to the objective by using the EOS foundational tools together, using the tools. Okay, so I'll explain that in a second. All right, so agreements are better than expectations. I learned somewhere resentments are under construction. So that's what they are. So an expectation is a resentment under construction. I don't remember who said that. Whoever the author is, that's a good one. So agreement is a handshake. Can you do 10 units a week, Adam? You can do that? Put it here. Congratulations. You have 10 on your scorecard. If you can't hit 10, we're going to have a conversation. If you do hit 10, I'm going to give you a high five in the hallway and ask if you need something. Remember, a scorecard is the opposite of micromanagement. It's literally hit your number and we will high five in the hallway. Anything you need from me? Amazing job last week. People are like, I don't want a scorecard. That sounds micromanaging. No, you don't like accountability because you're on Amazon half the day, right? Okay, there it is. Sorry.